Oh my God, we started early. And go to comments. Banner. Go back to comments. Turn the mic on. Hey everybody, it's Sal with Gun Barrel Coffee. Our next episode 48 of Coffee and Bullshit. Our special guest, as you can see, Mike Ferrari. Do you have a Ferrari?
I don't.
You don't?
One day.
One day.
But a Magnum PI style Ferrari.
The Ferrari 308. Yeah, that's a nice one. So, any relationship to the Ferrari family?
No. So the area of Italy where they make Ferraris, like Modena and Ferrara.
Mm-hmm.
Ferrari is like Smith over there, right? It's Ferrara is the region, and everybody from that region was named Ferrara, Ferraro, Ferrari, something like that. Right?
Okay.
So it's like a traditional name in that area. There's a zillion Ferraris. Yeah, none of them related.
Yeah. So you were Army.
Yep.
And you've been on the podcast before.
Yeah.
What was your MOS?
I was a 44 Echo. So I was a machinist.
Machinist?
Yeah.
Did you even have that job anymore?
No, that's the problem. When I got in my unit, it was civilian contractor, so I retrained.
Oh, so then what did you reclass to?
I was attached to a Cav Scout unit, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you're a Cav Scout then?
I don't know what I am. I'm way too big to be a real Cav Scout.
Well, you got to do this right in the vehicle.
Yeah. Little guys fit in vehicles. Big guys don't fit in vehicles, right? You
Right.
don't see any 6-foot tankers, do you?
No, I don't. So, yeah. So, what would you like to talk about?
Jeez.
Anybody out there listen to us will take comments. We'll ask some questions. It's kind of hard for me to see it from Instagram because the camera's turned the other direction. But Facebook, YouTube, should everybody be seeing us. We'll take your questions and whatever. I mean, so here's that shirt we were talking about.
Oh,
See what you
cool.
Open her up.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah. Now that was Brian's idea when you mentioned it.
Really?
Oh yeah. Brian's like, let's get that shirt made.
The Warlord of Geneva. That's awesome. Thanks, Sal.
I don't thank me. Thank Brian. He came up with the idea.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's my go-to phrase. So I'll tell you a story about Warlord of Geneva. Right?
All right.
So, we sit around and drink beer, and with all the civil unrest that we've had recently, right? In all over the nation, and like these riots just pop up, and people are breaking windows and stuff. And I says, hey, if it ever breaks down where vandals and rioters take over, I says, I'm going to come in there and clean house and become the Warlord of Geneva. We're going to own this thing. We're going to lock it down, put the rule of law back in place, get the police back, so I'm going to take over, right? So that's where that came from.
So technically you'd be the new mayor.
I would be a pseudo mayor. I'd take the real mayor and stick him back in office and say, listen, get to work, and then I'll cover you.
You'd be like the deputy mayor.
Yeah, it'd be deputy mayor pro temp.
Pro temp.
This is awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's got on the front and the back.
Yeah.
That's cool. I have a bunch of t-shirts I hardly ever wear. This is one of them, but we used to go to this car show down in Wayland, Missouri. And it's like in the northeast corner of Missouri. My friend Breeder used to put it on. So a bunch of my friends, like car friends, we would all drive down to Missouri, go to spend the whole weekend there. And it's a little bitty town, like 300 people. And you see a lot of strange things, right? In this little, like, podunk, really rural Missouri town, right? They got a meth problem. They got all this weird stuff going on. The Amish are down there. So
are the Amish making the meth?
No, they're roofing houses. The Amish are doing what Amish do, right? And so all of a sudden, there's like 300 people in this town, and like 1,000 hot rodders just show up, and they're doing burnouts in the street, take over the whole town. There's no cops, there's nothing. It's just us drinking beer, right in the middle of town. And we were joking around, and I says, "Oh, well, you know, it's all strange in Wayland, right?" And my friend Catherine made me a shirt that says, "It's all strange in Wayland." Yeah, Wayland's a cool little town.
What is that? Where is that from? St. Louis.
It's far north. It's like Iowa almost. It's like 3 miles from Iowa in the northeast corner.
Is that right by 65?
Dude, I don't know. You're asking me hard questions.
No.
I know how to get there. I don't know the streets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know there. Well, there's when we go down to Missouri, then go up to Iowa, take 65 up
Along the river. I know this is right along the river. It's
Oh no,
miles from the river.
no! This is like in the middle of the state.
Yeah. We would drive out to Wayland, and it was like 5 or 6 cars, and we would get out there. And the hotels are in Iowa, like the next town over. And I have a 62 Impala, so it's got a trunk about the size of this room. And we put our luggage in there and our coolers in there and beer, and we get down there and we were out drinking in the parking lot, and we go to town, and we're in the middle of town, like, there's 1,000 people just hanging out, all hot rodders and having beers. And Streamwood Eddie, my friend Ed, says, we got this case, and if not counting this case and the next, we're going to be out of beer. So we had to go get more beer. We showed up on Friday with like 4 cases of beer. Had to get beer on Saturday afternoon. Yeah, we ran out of beer. Had to get more beer.
Yeah. Was there so you're saying downtown doing burnouts? Was there any racing going on?
Nah, it was just a big crowd and people doing smoke shows, right?
Yeah.
Just big clouds of smoke, big burnouts. And then the Amish guy would come through with his cart, and he was sketching the thing sideways, and sparks were coming off the wheels. The cart's going back and forth. Yeah. There's sparks. Everybody's like, woo! He comes through with his buggy.
Is that still going on, or that kind of?
That last year or the year before was the last one. He did like 10 of them. My car club, we did a bunch of shows like in the 2000s that were pretty big. It was called the Hunter Car Pileup, the Chrome Czars Motor Club. So we basically would sort of organize the show, and all the car clubs from the Midwest would come and help make the show happen. Right. And we used to have it at Grundy County Speedway. When it got too big for the Grundy County Speedway, we moved it down to Decatur the last couple of years. We did ours 10 years, and we had a Tucker show up, which is super rare.
Really?
Yeah, we had thousands and thousands of cars. We would have like 20,000 people show up, spectators. It was huge.
Well, I know the 14th of August they'll be doing a grunt style in Carroll Stream at their retail store. They're having a car show, so if you got a classic car or a muscle car, show up there. You can enter. I think it's $15. Then the August 29th at the VFW in Batavia are also doing a car show. Not sure how much it is to enter. Probably $15. Enter your car. You can win prizes for different categories, right?
Yeah.
I guess clean car, original.
Yeah. 60s muscles.
60s muscles, yeah. What do you think is the perfect 60s muscle?
I don't know. See, so that's the thing, right? I'm not a muscle guy. I'm a traditional hot rodder. So for me, anything 64 and earlier is where I really focus. But for late 60s, early 70s muscle, like up to like 74, I like the Chevelle. I mean, just the 454, right?
Right.
It's just pure horsepower. But I really, really like the Plymouth Satellite. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about the Satellite, the shape of the body, right? Because remember the Satellite and there's what's the body style called? The Mopar body style. It's like the Charger, the Satellite, and there's another one, right? The Plymouth and Dodge had the same sort of body style. That Plymouth Satellite, because you could get a Plymouth Satellite with a 440 in it, and it totally didn't have any of the badging. It was a complete sleeper. It didn't look like a big Charger with all the with all the stuff on it. It's a cool.
I don't know if I ever really seen
Plymouth Satellite, man, or the Belvedere. The Belvedere was a freaking that was a granny sleeper car. There
was it?
You could buy. It was just like a regular Belvedere. It was just like a regular car, like not a muscle car, and you could get all the bigger motors and stuff in it. I saw one time, a Belvedere had it was ridiculous. It was so crazy fast. I don't remember what. I'm not a Mopar guy. My friend Tully's a Mopar guy.
Yeah, I'm not much of a Mopar either, but that's interesting.
Yeah, look it up, the Belvedere.
Now, how about for hot rods?
For like traditional hot rods, I'm a shoebox guy, a 50 Ford. So I've got a 62 Impala. I have a 62 Impala SS, and I have a 50 Ford Project, the 1950 two-door sedan. It's round,
right.
Shoebox Ford. I have a Project like that. That's one of my favorite cars is the 50 Ford. I have a Model 8 Project that's just parts right now.
You gonna make that into a hot rod?
Yeah, it'll be like an open wheel, really cool 5-window coupe with I got the body and the frame. Well, not the I have a frame, not the frame I want. I'm gonna build it. It's a 3031 body, and I'm putting it on a 32 frame. So I got to make some cuts and adjust the body a little bit. And I've got a 37 flathead motor that I have to rebuild yet, but that's what's going to go in it. So I've got a couple motors for sale, by the way. I haven't listed them on Facebook, but we got a 455 Olds motor with twin stacks, dual carbs, a cool like boat, the speedboat front plate, timing cover, and motor mount. I've got a 60 nailhead 401 with Hillborn injection for sale. Another one of those speedboat timing cover motor mount things. So I'm going to be listing them on Facebook soon. Yeah. So
look for it on Facebook if you're looking for a motor
or vintage speed parts. Nixon, Hillborn, all that other crap.
Yeah. So
hot rods. I like Model A's. I really do. Shoeboxes. I like shoeboxes.
Was that the style they were called?
Yeah. Shoebox? So and that's the weird thing about that time period, right? Because in the 40s, those cars had these big, round, flowing fenders, and the roofs were round, and the lowriders call them bombs, right? Because they're big and round. And then in 49, Ford was eventually getting there, but in 49 they had that first car with the flat sides on it, right? So it was all just flat. Its fenders weren't sticking out,
right? And
everybody's like, "Oh, it's so flat, it's so square. We're going to call it a shoebox because you could fit it in a shoebox because it's so flat on the sides." Yeah. But it's really round, like a Merc, right? It's really round, right? So the Merc and the shoebox were sort of that first era of the sort of flat-sided cars, and to us, they're not flat, right? And modern cars were, 60s and 70s cars were completely flat on the sides, but shoeboxes were considered,
So that'd be the same thing as a 55 Bel Air and
yeah. So we're talking shoebox 4950-ish.
Okay.
And that's about it. So 4950, 51-ish. Fords. Mercury had the lead sleds, right? The 50 Mercs. Everybody wants a 49 or a 50 Merc. But then after that, it sort of is the end of that shoebox era, and then you just have like the big car that everybody wants after that is the 55, 56 Crown Vic with the retractable roof or whatever. That's super rare. You can't find those. Like hit the button and the whole roof goes into the trunk. It's a cool car, and they were rare to begin with, and then the way they were built, rain went right in and it rusted them all out, so none of them survived. So if you have one, it's super rare. I forgot what it's called, Retractomatic, or I don't remember.
Really?
Yeah, retractable. And T-Birds were big, right? T-Birds, because they got a little car with a lot of horsepower, or potentially a lot of horsepower.
The Super Chicken.
Yeah.
And then you had the Corvettes.
The Vets, yeah. So this is the funny thing about Vets, right? Everybody's nuts about Vets, and back in the day, in like the 60 Corvettes, I think were the first car that got like the first passenger car that, or like for retail sale car, where like the cubic inches and horsepower sort of matched up. Previously, you'd have I got a 401 cubic inch motor with 289 horsepower.
Right.
Well, they ended up with like a 283 with 283 horsepower. It was like finally the engineering caught up.
Right.
They had these really cool mechanical injection that you could buy, like from the dealer. You buy a Corvette, had mechanical injection, right? But everybody was like, oh, this is cool. I can get injection, no intake, no nothing. I just got these stacks. It's great. Driving around town with it. Then they found out, well, anytime the barometer changes, the weather changes, you got to go in and adjust everything. It doesn't run right. It was a total pain in the ass. Everybody pulled them off, put on an intake and a carb, and tossed them. Now, if you could find one of those, it's like $4,500 for the original intake, right? The original injection. They're expensive. Anyway, Corvette sort of pioneered speed. That was like that. The seed that was planted that had blossomed into the muscle car era, right?
Right.
You know, that was like, it was sort of, Chevrolet sort of fell into that, and then everybody's like, oh no. And then Dodge just took off and says, no, we got this. And started putting big motors in.
Well, yeah, the Hemi motors and
446 pack, you know, like
the 440s.
That's the thing about Mopar guys is they're always like, you know, there's no replacement for displacement type people, right? They always want the huge motors, right? And Chevrolet guys are like, give me a little, you know, mouse motor, a little 283 or 327, you know.
Well, the Ford had the 289s, right?
Yeah.
And those were supposed to be some workhorses.
Yeah.
I mean,
they're pretty bulletproof.
Yeah, I've heard people like, I haven't started this motor up and I can put anything in here and it starts right up.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's
strange. There's certain motors like there's certain motors that just were good, and then there's some that were just shit, right? Like for example, in the old school days, right? Those inline sixes, right? So the 235s, the 216s, 235 inline sixes. The old school ones had oil slingers, right? So that instead of having an oil pump, full pressure oil pump,
right,
they just had a little thing on the crank that splashed oil, the splasher. They didn't last too long, right? But as they got out of the towards the end of the 50s, when you had 235s and two bigger, 280, 290, 289, something like that, the bigger displacement inline sixes, they had full pressure oil. They were bulletproof, right? I mean, they put them in everything. Every old pickup truck, it was like a workhorse. You couldn't destroy that thing if you tried. Later on, and then they started with small blocks and big blocks in the 60s,
right? Like
the 265 in the late 50s, 283, 327, 409. You know, like the 283 and the 327 were bulletproof. That first gen small block, they were great. It's hard to destroy them, right? The sucky part is that there's a giant oil filter canister on the back left-hand side of the motor on the driver's side. Every time you change the oil, they got this oil everywhere, and you got this huge paper filter. And you got this really long bolt. You got to get all the way up in there just right. That sucked. But those were motors that you couldn't destroy. And then Ford later on in the 70s and 80s, they had an inline 300 cubic inch motor that. And it was the most common motor in every pickup truck. Like they sold them inline six and a bunch of stuff, and it's bulletproof. It's indestructible, right? Yeah.
Well, I liked about the straight six is you can work on them.
Yeah, there's plenty. of room.
There's plenty of room in there. It's like, they didn't they do a straight eight?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's straight eights. So Packard had an 8. I think Oldsmobile had one. A GM motor was an 8, I think. 8 in a row makes them go, right?
Yeah.
But the problem, the longer that motor is, the more hot the rear cylinders get, right? Even though you got coolant and oil, it's just the heat built towards the back, right?
Right.
V12s had that same problem. They were sort of long motors, and they just didn't catch a lot of wind, in the back.
Right.
They got hot.
Yeah. Well, about the V10s.
Yeah, well, the new V10s are.
Yeah.
That's all aluminum stuff, right? Most of that's aluminum block or.
Oh, yeah.
All aluminum heads, so you don't have to worry. That dissipates heat really well. The Triton is another bulletproof motor. I had a dragster for sale recently. Like my car club had this dragster, and it was a Model T dragster with that 455 volts motor in it. And we just sold it to a guy out in Ohio a couple months back. But I listed it on Facebook, and I got like 1,000 people messaging me, right? And it was always the Dodge guys that were like, hey, toss that boat anchor motor out there and I'll buy it without it. And I'm going to put a Hellcat motor in there. They're always like, I got a 440 I'm going to put in there. And it's always talking about these huge motors. I'm like, just buy I don't want that stupid motor. Finally, there's a guy that talked me out of it. He's like, all right, I'll buy the car without the motor. And I'm like, all right, I'll sell it without the motor.
So you had to pull the motor out.
It was a couple bolts. It was no big deal.
Yeah.
But now it's in my garage and I got to get rid of it. Yeah. So,
yeah.
Coming to you soon. Facebook Marketplace. Check it out. Look for 455 volts and a 4.1 nail head.
Well, I mean, they could take that whole vehicle and take the motor with it and then sell it afterwards.
Yeah, but they don't want to deal with that. Like, whatever. Hey, man, I'll sell it. We'll get more than our money back out.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you find selling things in pieces better than selling in whole?
It depends on what it is, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times you don't want to break it up. Like, for example, I've got this 401. It's a Buick nail head, great block, stock heads, Hilborn intake, Nixon timing cover. It's got like all these pieces, right? And it's like cool vintage stuff. Everybody wants to buy the speed part stuff, all the cool vintage stuff, but they don't want the block. And what am I going to do with a block, right? I want somebody that's going to use it, right? So I want to sell it as a package. So in some cases, I want to get rid of it all. But then in other cases, like, I got this random intake that I don't need anymore and a couple of carburetor on it. I'm just going to, sell everything together. But so talking about inline sixes, I have a Ford in 49 and 50, well, previous to that, but the 49 and 50 Fords you had the option of a V8 or an inline six, right? I forgot the displacement of the V8, 238, I think, an inline six. Anyway, inline six made 100 horsepower, the V8 made 110 horsepower, right? So it's an inline six flathead motor. So it's really flat on the top. And I have enough spare parts. I thought, if my back wasn't broken, I thought, I'm going to build this cool hot rod with it because nobody wants that flathead inline six. They all want a V8. I'm going to build this cool open wheel roadster hot rod with a flathead inline six in the front. And then I got parts, Model A parts out of a truck to build the cab part. And then on the back, or, covering the rear end, all the way out the back of the car, I've got 251 Chevy hoods that I'm going to use as a clamshell, make it a boat tail, like a boat tail roaster. Call it the spare change roaster because it's all miscellaneous parts I got laying around. So I still...
Wouldn't that be called a rat rod or something?
Yeah, it sort of would be, because it's all crappy, rusty shit, right? But, yeah.
Now, how would you get that vehicle with plates?
So, once you build the vehicle, right, there's a process where you have to apply for a VIN number. They come out and do an inspection, give you a VIN number, fill a paper. It takes like 6 months to get it.
Oh.
You got to have blinkers, you got to have headlights, you got to have all the safety stuff, got to have a horn. You can't just whip something together and go drive it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Got to have a windshield, right? Shit like that.
Well, you know what? I've seen a guy driving around town. I don't know if you've ever seen him in the blue Jeep.
Yeah.
And he always rides with he has windshield down and wearing no glasses. I'm like, man, if a bug just hits him in the eye, he's going to be like, ah.
Yeah. Well, it's like the law in Illinois, right? You can't ride a motorcycle without eye protection.
Unless you have a windshield.
Yeah, unless you have a windshield, right? You got to have something.
Yeah, right? I got a windshield. I usually do, but...
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, if you didn't have the windshield, you'd have to have glasses on. I don't know if that applies to cars, though. Like, if you don't have a windshield on your hot rod, do you just have to wear goggles all the time or glasses? What's the rule?
I don't know. I mean, if you have a deuce or a 5-ton that the windows pop up, you have windows. It's just not,
technically, it folds down.
Folds down.
You have windows past the letter of the law.
Yeah,
it's weird when you start looking into the rules about cars, like the law, right? Has to be so many inches off the ground. Bumper this, that, blah blah. There's all these really like crazy rules that have to be followed, obviously for safety, right? But
Warsaw Patriot saying hi. So, what was your first car you drove?
As a kid, right? I lived in a rural area, right? So pickup trucks and tractors and stuff like that. But
so what was your first muscle
one
car, hot rod?
Yeah. So my first vehicle that was sort of like I called mine, it was my parents' truck, my mom's truck. It was a 77 GMC half ton. and it was a brown High Sierra pickup. And then I had a 71 F-250 when I was in the Army. We used to call it Sweet Pea. It was green. It was pea green. If you remember that pea green in the early 70s, right?
Yeah.
You know, like that. It's like that green on that cart, right? It's like sweet pea green. And I had that truck for a while, and then I had a whole slew of Jeeps and S10 pickups and you name it, right? But my first real hot rod kind of car was this 62.
62.
You know, it's a cool custom car. That was my first one.
Warsaw Pack said his first car was a BMW X5
SUV.
and boy, I loved it.
Nice.
2005. Not really considered a hot rod or a muscle car, but
it's a cool car.
I don't know. Most BMW people I ever seen are kind of assholes. I'm just saying. They drive like assholes.
I think BMW had this thing called Cross Drive or something like that, and it was like a automatic all-wheel drive in those Beamers, right? It was cool. It was like one of the first cars to come up with that. You know, like if this wheel slips, these two take over. If this one slips, that one.
Oh yeah. Well, back in the day, they used to call it posi track.
Right. Yeah, but this was automatic.
Right.
Like, it's like automatic, like traction controllers. What a cross drive.
Don, no, there's really no places in Chicago that carry our coffee. You can order it from gunbarrelcoffee.com. Unless you come out to Geneva and go to the Geneva Ace Hardware. We're always looking for places that will carry our coffee. Yeah. We mostly do little mom and pop places.
I saw it at GAT.
Yes, it's at GAT Guns. Yeah. It's at Range 355 in LaGrange, I guess it's called. It's like in between. They got a weird address. It's like in between LaGrange and whatever that next town next to it is. Article 2 in Lombard. I think they're still carrying our coffee. If not, request it. But yeah, try coffee. It's good. We got swag, as the kids would say these days. Swag. I don't know.
Stickers, shirts, hats.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we got hats and shirts.
Coffee.
One day we'll have the mechanics shirt, they call it.
But like
yes, it's a button down, it's got that, and it's got the logo, but it'd be a different, same logo, but it's not going to say 0 Dark 30 anymore. It's going to be a little different.
Yeah.
What else?
Like I used to wear red cap clothes all the time.
Red cap? What the heck is that?
It's like Dickies, red cap. It's mechanics clothes, red cap pants. For some reason, the red cap stuff, I'm tall, right?
Right.
It's like I got like a 36-inch inseam, and my arms are 36 inches long. I mean, I got long and red cap stuff.
Just, long and everywhere, huh?
Yeah.
That's why your wife married you?
Right. They call me tripod.
He was the 50 cal.
That stuff always fit me, and it was cheaper than Dickies, right? So
yeah.
Like red cap is good stuff.
I gotta ask, you ever tried D5 Gun Shop up in Marengo? Mm-hmm. You know what? We've been trying to get a hold of them for the longest time. They have some weird hours, but yeah, I mean, Brian's been up there. Brian's trying to contact them before, but no response that I know of. So if you know them, hey, I know we had a couple people go up there and ask, but yeah, we're more than happy to. I know they got that other brand over there. We won't mention their names, but we're more than happy to supply them some Gun Barrel coffee. Maybe I'll try to reach out to them during the day next week. But yes, I know about D5. Great. I haven't been there, but 2-story gun shop, ranges and stuff. It's a range and a gun shop, I believe. So one day when we don't have to work every freaking weekend and go shooting.
Speaking of that,
yeah.
So Aurora Sportsman's Club out in Waterman on September 11th is having their annual zombie shoot, right? So zombie shoot is like their big event.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of different ranges set up. I'll be out there with one of either the practical rifle or the 3-gun range. So all the different, that club has like all these little mini groups inside of it, like muzzle loaders and, precision this and marksman that and pistols and rifle and shotguns and skeed. Like there's all these little groups and they all have put up their little range.
Right.
And then you come out there and shoot the different things, moving targets. One year we had a scaffolding building where you shoot down like 200 yards at these other targets. And
they should do a kill house.
Well, so we have we have plans down the road for a kill house, but when you get into shooting 360 degrees,
right,
there's
it's
a bunch
a little
of safety, insurance, things like that. There's certifications and training that have to be involved, but we're planning on a shoot house eventually.
Because that'd be a great place for law enforcement to do some training. Yeah. I mean,
we provide ranges for local law enforcement all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, the zombie shoot we did it last year. It was rainy that day. I remember that. It was rainy. I mean.
Yeah, rain doesn't hurt nobody.
No, rain never hurts anybody. I mean, I was cutting my grass last night in the rain. But yeah, go check it out. September 11th, the zombie shoot at Aurora Sportsman Club in Waterman, Illinois.
Check it out on Facebook.
Yep, Facebook. And if you go there, you can also shoot some fully automatic weapons.
Yeah, usually there's
an AK.
Or an MP5.
MP5, yep.
And a 50 cal. You want to shoot a 50 cal? We had one there last time.
There was a 50 cal there? A Barrett or an actual Mod Deuce?
No, it was Barrett.
It was a Barrett? That's what somebody needs to get a Mod Deuce out there.
Yeah.
Or Mark 19 would be better.
Yeah, well.
you got plenty of range.
Yeah, we got plenty of range, but there's rules about grenades.
Just don't use HE.
You
shoot cannons.
We shot cannons and we shot grenades, but they were the marker grenades, right? The blue chalk, right? And we were shooting 200 yards with them, no problem. 337 millimeter ones.
Yeah, you can give Gun Barrel Coffee a shout out anytime. I mean, if you.
Zombie shoot's a hoot. It's a good time. Yeah, I'll be out there. My rickety old truck with my tarp. I always hang a tarp off the ladder rack for shade, and set up a little mini hooch and a couple coolers and smoking cigars and shooting guns. And I'm bringing out. So usually I bring out one or two of my guns. Last year I brought out I had an East German MPI KM, so it's like the East German AK, and then a Polish AK. This year I'm going to bring out a FNFAL.
Okay.
Just to sort of. I don't shoot it very often, so.
Do you like that one?
I do. I like the FN, right?
Because DSA Arms. That's what they mostly deal with, and know the owner. I met him a couple times. I know his brother that does Guncraft Beer. So don't forget to check out Guncraft Beer if you see it in your local store or Vinny's or request it. Yeah. So check out Waterman. It's a great time. Are they going to do vendors?
I don't know. I think so. I think they set up a tent. It was rainy last time. I think they'll set up a tent, like they did, and they'll have vendors. But I think I'm trying to remember the name. I think Chris Klein is the guy who's in charge of setting all that part up.
Yeah, because I think Mike that does Charlie Mike's Beef Jerky, I think he said he already signed up for it or going to do it.
All right, yeah.
So he'll be there.
Is that the guy with all the ammo cans?
Yeah, with all the ammo cans.
That's cool.
Super
nice guy.
If we don't have anything too big, we can go there and do it. Let's see. My favorite pistol is the PT92 AF SD 9mm made by Taurus. Yep, the Beretta clone. There's actually another clone one that actually takes the Beretta mags. It's the Turkish.
Yeah.
And I bought one of those. Still haven't shot it yet. I don't, because I buy them and then I don't get to shoot them because I'm always at work. So that's too busy.
That's the problem with COVID, right? Is you're home, you're like, I'm going to build another rifle, and you sort of get it together, and then you're like, I built this COVID rifle and I haven't shot it yet.
It's the other problem too. Is, you're right. The Gerson, that's the one I bought. The Gen 3, if I remember correctly, is the one I bought because it's more like the M29, whatever
whatever the designation is.
Yeah, the military one, more like the. the Beretta 3rd generation one that they built that didn't get considered. But everybody, most everybody I ever talked to that's been in the military is talking about the SIG
226 or something.
the SIG P220.
220s.
Yeah, which I don't know what their military designation is. So they really don't like it.
Yeah, it's all. So that's the thing, right? It's all about that when they select these pistols or rifles, right? They're shooting up the middle of the road, right? So there's going to be people with big hands, people with little hands, like it all depends. I'm lucky, right? Like the HK, I have a HK USP tactical with the the threaded barrel and the raised sights, and it's huge. It's a big gun.
Right.
I had to put a wrap on it to grab it, so it felt good. And everybody makes fun of me. They're like, "Oh my god, look at the size of the handle of that gun." I'm like, "Yeah, but it fits me like a glove, right?"
Well, like for me, it picked up 1911, and I had to get the thinner ones. Yeah, because my hands aren't that big. They're
1911s are they're long, and that's where it takes up a lot of space because it's so long.
But the grips on it, it's nice. You can take them off, get the thinner ones, and it felt better. Just like with my Beretta, I changed the grips on that one. Yeah. So it fits my hand a little bit better.
I always add.
You always got to add.
I've got a Glock 21. Sort of, it's a double stack 45. It's thicker.
Right.
I put a wrap on that one too. One of those Hogue grip wraps, just so I can grab a little bit. And that's my run and gun. So I was an HK guy. I loved HK. I shot HK. It was great. I carried an HK. Like that was my gun for years. And then I ended up with a Glock. A police officer friend of mine retired, and he sold me a Glock 21. And I shot it, and I was like, man, this is nice. I was always not really a Glock fanboy. Everybody's like, oh, Glock is the best. I'm like, whatever. And I shot it, and I was like, dang, this is nice. And I was accurate with it. So,
see, for me, I mean, I've shot the Glocks. They're okay. I've got a SIG. It's okay. But the Canics,
they fit you better.
They fit me better. They just shoot really good. Yeah. The trigger is really nice. When you aim it, it's true. It's just so I'm a Canic fan. I've gotten most of their TP9 series stuff. It just shoots so well, and all the magazines I can use it on any one of them. Yeah. That's what I like. That's why I like the Beretta because I have I was a Beretta guy since I turned 21.
Yeah,
and I love it. So I have a lot of magazines. So like. All my other stuff, I converted. The AR 9mm is converted to for a Beretta. The Sub 2000 is a Beretta, which is a nice backpack gun. Fold it over, put it in your backpack. I can walk around with it. Nobody knows. But in case of emergencies in the woods and there's a bear, that bear is I'll still be running. See, Spank the 1911 I picked up a nice. Oh yeah, that's another one of those guns from Turkey. A lot of the Turkey guns are really coming out. Turks are making some really good guns. I even got what was that? It's a bullpup.
Yeah, the Tavor.
No, not Tavor. That's a nice one. But it's a bullpup that was made in Turkey, and it shoots really nice. But you got to use high brass.
Yeah.
1911's always been. Oh, it's not Turkish.
1911-ish.
1911-ish.
Tokarev. See,
I thought Tokarev. That means okay, Serbia. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't read that part. So in displays. Yeah, and then the Tokarev.
Those are Tokarev. Those are nice.
I've never shot one.
They're
the old Warsaw.
Yeah,
pack.
The
trigger, 9x18s.
The trigger pull, like the stock, like if you picked one up, from Eastern Europe, trigger pull on that thing is like hard. It's not. It's not light. You got to do trigger work on them to make them super nice.
Oh,
but they're bulletproof like a 1911, right? You can shoot them. You can shoot them filthy, and they work fine.
Yeah, I do like the compact 1911s. Yeah. At least you can carry that without having a full 5-inch or 4.5.
Dude, when I used to carry that, like a full size. It was the HK USP, right? 45. I just carried in a paddle holster under my shirt. Nobody even knew, right? Like you can't tell. Bigger guys,
Yeah.
wear a bigger shirt. You can't tell. You have a giant gun there. Nobody knows. Like a Glock 30 or 31.
Yeah.
Which is just like or Glock 30, which is just like a 21, just shorter. And that's my. I shoot the Lord's caliber 45, right? 45 ACP, the Lord's caliber. But that's the go-to, right? It's like interchangeable mags with the Glock 21, the G30. But yeah, so the Tokarev, the Makarov, all those Eastern European stuff, right? The Tokarev by far is the Makarov was like a Walther PPK kind of a knockoff,
right? Yeah,
and the Tokarev was sort of like a 1911-ish kind of knockoff, but more just taking some ideas and doing their own thing. Yeah. It's pretty bulletproof. I mean, it ain't bad, but they made weapons in Eastern Europe, so to be damn near indestructible and not have to run with a lot of maintenance, right?
I mean, that's why the AKs are so popular, right? I mean, you can hammer that barrel back into place and it'll still be shooting. Yeah, and you get your. Don't get me wrong, the ARs are great. Yeah, they're light.
I love the round though, 7.62 x 39.
Yeah,
it's 30 caliber. It's got plenty of powder. I mean,
but even their 5x4, their 5.56 version. Yeah, that's a pretty wicked round. I mean, it's
especially with the tungsten, the penetrators. The green whatever's what do they call it? Not the green tips. They had a different name for it. Yeah, it's called I don't know, steel core or whatever. Yeah, they banned them on import. Remember that with Obama?
Well,
they all got banned. Everybody's buying them up, and it all got banned.
Well, because they would go through body armor.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
The lighter armor. Yeah.
Yeah, the lighter armor. Yeah, an AK-74. I still want an AK-74, the Polish one. Yeah. The Tanto.
Yeah, the Polish side folder.
Yeah. But they're just so expensive, man. The one time they were like $300-400, and all of a sudden the next day I was gonna go next gun show. I was gonna buy one, and they're already $1,000. I'm like, well, there goes that idea. I mean, but then again, the only problem is with buying a lot of different guns that you gotta buy the magazines, right? Then the accessories, right? Yeah. So I mean, the gun is cheap. It's all the accessories and ammo you gotta buy. Yeah. So then all of a sudden, you're dealt with. You got 9, and then you have 357s. Or 38 specials, and then you go with 45s, and then you got a 380, and then you got 223, 30-06, 7.62, and you're like, holy shit, that's a, and you just can't have a little bit. You got to have. I mean, when the papers say, this guy had an arsenal of 1,000 rounds, that's amateur hour.
That's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, that's a drop in the bucket. That's one day at the range.
We would shoot 3-gun. So a bunch of the guys from here, we would go and shoot different 3-gun events, and it was nothing to go through 150 rounds with your rifle and 100 rounds with your pistol and 50 with your shotgun. Every event. So you're buying ammo when it was cheaper, right? You're buying a couple thousand rounds at a time.
Yep.
Or you're buying a pallet load with your friends and dividing it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a guy who does skeet shooting. Yeah. And so you think how many rounds they got to go through, and they practice. And the one guy, he's a Marine. He comes maybe every couple of weeks, buys a couple bags of coffee, but he's always going on these trips, like to different countries, to shoot competition. Yeah. And just some of the places he's been to, I'm like, how the hell did you get into that country? Or he was in Afghanistan when the war kicked off, hunting. Yeah. I was like, how? I'm like, holy shit, that's pretty amazing.
Did you see the Olympics with all we won gold and a bunch of shooting events?
It's amazing. Telling me the Second Amendment doesn't work, huh?
Yeah. My friend Carl is always like, guns are they're part of our religion here in the States.
Technically, I mean, it kind of is. I mean, we're the only country that has
part of our culture.
Yeah. I mean, without it, we would be speaking German or British or maybe Canadians. I don't know.
Cry eye.
Yeah.
Whoa, did I move the camera? Sorry.
No, you didn't move the camera. I don't think it moved. Yeah, it just moves. But see, what did he say here? He wants the Ukrainian military used 74.
It's gonna be tough to get.
Yeah, they are.
I had parts for this East German MPI cam. from what we could tell, right, they were in Georgia during that whole war, like right, the Georgia
the conflict.
the conflict in Georgia, and they ended up going to Turkey, then to Egypt, and then Apex bought them and brought them into the States, but they had to be sanitized, right? It was a sanitized kit, right? So all the numbers were milled off of it and stuff. And I bought it years and years ago, and then finally put it together. But when I put it together, I ended up buying another East German trunnion that had actual numbers on it, so it looked at least normal. It didn't look weird.
Yeah.
And the thing about East German, their AKs, they were, when we patrol the border, you'd see the guy standing, on the other side, right near the towers and stuff, and their guns were always like shiny black. And we're like, did they Parkerize that shit? Why? It's not a normal AK. It's like all shiny black, like it's going to be in a parade. I found out later, after talking to a bunch of East German friends of mine, that no, they just used to spray paint them. For the parades, they would spray paint them, and then that was it. They would just leave them shiny like that, So when I built this one, we Cerakoted it like a satin black, so it really looks like
shiny.
It's
so
cool.
It didn't have no wood parts on it.
It had wood. It had wood. The forearm was wood, and then the stock was like plastic with bumps, right?
Yeah.
So
okay.
we always just say "rib for her pleasure," right?
Yeah.
There's all the little nubs on the stock. But it's the forearm is like, it's a really cool like forearm. It's got gouges in it and stuff, like you can see it's been through the ringer.
Yeah.
The forearm stock.
And then you just be like, man, my AR doesn't. Yeah. It's not shiny at all.
Yeah. I always tell myself, I take all the spare parts that I have from that with that sanitized trunnion and build a cool AK pistol like a Draco or something. But one day, I ain't got time for it right now. Working on cars.
The Germans used Soviet weapons. Well, yeah, I mean, but they also built their own. Yes, SKSs, the PPS H41s, which that'd be cool to have.
The East German Makarovs were like the best. Like you can't get them. They were the best, right? They're worth a ton of money. East German Makarovs, because the East Germans were really big into precision machining.
Yep.
Right? So.
Yeah. Well, like my son, Mosagan. I remember when they came in here, you can buy one for like under $100.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I
should have bought two.
I know, I should have. I was like looking at it, I'm like, you know what? I'm shaking. I'm like, man, there's something loose in here. I'm like, but now, I mean, you can't be, or a couple $100 now.
Yeah.
I mean, they're nice to get the 7.62 by 54.
That's a hell of
so
a
that's a hell of a, that's reach out and touch somebody from halfway around the world. I've seen East Germans make a rare AK-74 folding under a fold. Yeah. Stock. Well, the nice thing about a lot of the AKs, or even you can get a folding stock for almost anything.
Yeah, $100. $100 you can get. $120 you can get an East German folding stock to put on your regular 70 or 47.
Yeah,
and I think you can, if you use the right rear trunnion, you can put it on ding or anything, right?
Yeah. The problem is with the folding stock, it's that metal, and it's just
it's a folding stock, right?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It's lightweight, right?
Yeah.
It was made for the airborne units.
It's hard to put your cheek on it, right? I've got a VZ58 that's got a metal. It's basically just a rod with a thing, and it's a folder. And I ended up putting a piece of garden hose on it, and wrapping it with black tape just to get it to where I could put my cheek on it, right? Because it was so low.
Well, that's like the sub 2000, right?
Yeah.
Just got the tube.
Yeah.
Put your cheek there to it, and fire it off. Yeah. So are we drinking during this live? So are we? Well, we're gonna have
might have a little.
Yeah. So this is from Windy Acres out in DeKalb. One of our good customers. We get a lot of whiskey and bourbons here from our customers. They just bring us a bottle.
Are you complaining about it?
No, I'm not complaining about it at all. No. So always do a shot. The one I do miss is the when we were in Korea, we used to drink soju.
Yeah.
And were you in Korea? Did you do a tour?
For a short period of time.
Yeah. But what was the drink you would drink in Germany?
Well, I mean,
besides beer,
Salute. There's this beer. Let me talk about beer.
Okay.
That is delicious.
It's good.
That is good stuff.
Yeah.
You think, you sit and you're like, oh, it's got a nice glow, and then you take a breath and it's got an even better glow after it. Yeah.
It's like, let me grab a match.
There's this beer, Würzburger Hofbrau made this beer, and it was a Hefeweizen beer, so it was a heavy wheat beer.
Right.
And it had, it was basically called Würzburger Hofbrau Hefeweizen, but it had a picture of this guy, Julius Ector. He was a monk from way back, right? I think he had something to do with Reinheitsgebot, but we used to call it Julius Ector Nectar. And it was by far the best beer I ever had in Germany. We would buy 20 bottle racks of it, but I mean, it was mostly just like, in Germany, it was mostly like the Germans really like their the Rhineland wine, and they make a lot of like wine, and because the Rhine along the Rhine River, there's like wine and brandies, right? Like and a lot of aperitifs, right? So like the brandies and the other types of cordials, they love that stuff, right?
Yeah, well, that's why we have. That's coming out in October. We use a really good brandy, the Asbach, for our coffee. And that one there is probably the best brandy I've ever had. Yeah. I've had the apple one that made in the U.S. from George Washington time. I'm not a big fan of it. I can't remember sour apple, green apple. I don't know what the hell it's called. We have it here, but
Asbach.
Yeah, Asbach is a good one.
Yep. And
that was done by the Sergeant Major Canute, who, while we're doing a show, he was putting a little bit in his coffee, and I'm like, "Oh, Sergeant Major, can we try some in our coffee? We should put it in there, try it." I'm like, "Holy shit, that's really good."
Yeah.
So that's why we call it the Sergeant Major blend.
Yeah.
Because of him, and his wife really loves it. But we got that. But this August we'll have our rum flavored coffee, aged in the barrel. We do have whiskey barreled coffee, but that doesn't come out until the springtime. We do we do a bourbon. We're working on a whiskey one. It's going to be, we're trying with the whiskey is cherry flavored. I don't know why, but it just sounds really good. And I'm playing with that recipe right now. So it's aging in a barrel right now as R&D, research and development. So it's in the works. I still got another 2 months for it to sit in the barrel before I can try it. And then if that comes out, then we'll have a whiskey one coming out, whiskey cherry coming out in the summertime. I think it just kind of goes good in the summer.
Yeah.
It's a specialty. They are $22 a bag. They're 10 ounces, but it's all our stuff is done in oak barrels, virgin. Oh, we got a phone call. It's very important. So look for it. We usually post it on social media, and you can order it online or come down to shop. And Warsaw, he likes a lot of the stuff from Warsaw areas. Yeah. The Czech CZ2000. Yeah. I've heard of it.
Yeah.
The selector is on the right side. Yeah, because usually on the left. It's on the right side of the rifle. The selector on the left, same as the Polish. But I said rum's coming out. So, what rifle would you take if all hell broke loose? A rifle and a pistol. Which one? Kind of hard to decide, isn't it?
Yeah. So it depends on where you are, right? Like here in the States, it's going to be an AR, right? So I'm going to have the most common caliber for 5.56 is 9mm, right? So like a Glock 19 and an AR, like either Daniel Defense or LaRue, right? It's something really high quality,
right? Well, okay. So when most people buy an AR, they just don't buy one.
It's like Barbie dolls, right?
Yeah,
you got to have 5 or 6.
You're right. You at least have three to 6 ARs. Why? In
different situations,
right? You got your 10.5-inch barrel,
right,
with a pistol brace,
yeah,
which I think is still legal, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Even a folder. I would put a folder.
Oh yeah.
So well,
Well, that's why I like the AR 180s.
Yeah.
Or the Brunel AR 180s, which I have both sizes of, the 18 and 10, because I can fold the stock and I can fire like that. I don't have to refold it and put it in and fire like an AR.
Yeah.
So, and it's a pretty good. I like them. So shout out to Brunel for making those. God, I think I'd take my Brunel because I can fold it, close quarters, CQBs, and the Canic pistols. It's just like I've been told. I like, what would, I get yelled at by the old lady by saying, well, how many things can you take?
How many as I can carry?
As many as I can carry. I'd be like a pirate. I'd be having things stuffed all over the place. Yeah. I'd be carrying my 1892 lever action in 357. Somehow figure out how to put a little thing on the back with a samurai sword sticking out. You gotta have knives.
Yeah, I'd say like a Daniel Defense, like a 10.2 or a 12.5-inch barrel AR platform.
I like the 7.5-inch, but they just don't work right.
Yeah, you got to have a little bit longer barrel to get all that gas pressure, and then you got to have a little bit longer barrel in order to be a little more accurate. So, So a 12-inch barrel will get you out a couple hundred yards, and 9 times out of 10, when it's hitting the fan, you don't want to engage people that far away, so you just try to hide. But I'd say a 5.56 and then a 9mm. But I like the Lord's caliber, right? So I probably 45.
Warsaw said the PT92 is my backup pistol and the Glock 19, which I get it. You know what I really like with the Glocks, either 19th or 17th, you can buy those pistol braces and fold it, and you have yourself like a Victor, where the what was that 45 they made with the V? Not a Victor. Oh, God dang, I can't remember. Let's see. Lambo. I'm sorry if I mess up your name. Smith & Wesson, yes, a very good AR. With a folding brace, chambered in 5.56, 19 end to end.
Shotguns are the way to go.
Shotguns are, a tactical shotguns, bullpups. So you still get that 18-inch, right? Or it's 18-inch, but it's just so much compact because you bring out the old Remington 870 with the 28-inch barrel. You're like, technically, I would, if everything went to hell, I just cut that barrel off. And it would be a nice little. We're going to starve to death. Yeah. You need to carry food and water. Yeah. Yes, I know, Amanda. We trust me. We have plenty of that in the basement.
We could eat coffee,
and we have coffee. Doesn't mean I could not hunt for food if all hell breaks loose. Yeah.
But then you're gonna have, if all hell breaks loose, you can join the Warlord of Geneva, right? Yes,
we'll make sure that Geneva is safe. We'll put that magical force field around us. that always been talked about in the Tri-City area.
It is. So, I didn't grow up around here, right? Around this area, but it's a cool area, for somebody coming in from somewhere else, right? Like within a year, I knew you guys, I knew a handful of people in town. Like you become friends really quick, right? So you grow into the community. It's a cool area. Batavia is nice. Geneva, St. Charles, like Aurora. It's pretty cool.
Right. I mean, here's Warsaw. He says, things about guns, you also need to carry as much ammo.
Oh, yeah. That's the hard part.
Yes. You need
heavy.
Yes. Ounces equals pounds and all that good shit. You can only carry so much. It's true. You can only carry so much, but you can carry a lot of different 9mm and.
So what was the rule of thumb back in the day? It was like 6 mags, 1 in your rifle, 5 on your body or whatever, but.
Oh, for combat loads?
Yeah. Was it 6?
200, was it 230 or 240 rounds? Right? So 30 rounds of magazines, whatever that comes out to be. But you always carried extra.
Yeah.
You took your gas mask container and you take that out, throw more magazines in there, carry more mags in your cargo pockets.
But you got to remember, you're 21 years old.
Yeah, you're 21 years old, so you're light. You can carry it. For us old fuckers now,
3 mags.
Well, that's why you wear you got, you put on your armor. You got 6 here, 1 your mag. I got 2. I keep back here so I can pull them out for emergency. Your first aid bag, your first aid for yourself.
Right. Tourniquets, your boo-boo kit, your IFAC, your water, your mags.
Water.
You got to think, man, with armor and all that stuff on, you're looking at another 60 pounds on your back.
Oh yeah, you are. And it's
hard to run like that.
So, but what type of armor? I mean, are you wearing 3A or going straight 3? So, I mean, if you're going straight 3, you're wearing steel plates on you. If you're just going with your other one, it's a little lighter. But the only problem is you create so much heat.
Yeah.
So, I need a Ghostbuster coffee. Well, I mean, oh, hey, I know what it is. Okay. Well, it's been, we've almost gone an hour. So we've gone a little over an hour. Yeah. So, hey, everybody, I got to get back. I got to help Brian in the last 45 minutes. I'm going to try to. Maybe get there last 10 minutes. Who knows? But so watch this. We're going to shoot a quick 30-second video, something stupid, ridiculous. Oh, hey, can you bring that the AR-6? Here, we're going to show you this. See, what's your thoughts on new polymer cased ammo? I don't know. Have you heard of polymer cased ammo?
Yes.
Have you?
Yeah.
That's something new?
Yep.
Oh, shit.
I shot some polymer cased 9mm.
Really? How was it?
No, 45.
45?
It was from Herder's. It was blue.
Right.
No, it was a polymer case, or was it? I can't remember. It was blue and it was plastic, and I shot it and it worked fine.
Really?
It was 45 though. It wasn't. 9 has got a lot more pressure, right?
Right, but still 45. I mean, still it's 900 and something.
Yep.
So, all right. So here's a new toy. It's called the AR-6 Stinger. Now, what's cool about it? You can, load up 6. If you put one in the chamber, you got 7. Shoots real accurate. I put a red dot on here. I've been shooting it. I don't know how far you think it is from the door to the bathroom.
50 feet.
50 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
accurate.
That's accurate.
That's
accurate. It is nice, super easy. Just where's the camera? Pull down, and it's self-loaded. So now I can get off 6 shots pretty quick. The red dot is really nice. Keep your eyes open, right, and shoot. And I kind of shoulder it. Yeah. I'm a little shorter, so I can do that. But I mean, I can do it from out here, and as long as I got my red dot, it's not loaded. It's on safe. It's a toy, just in case Facebook wants to know.
Yeah.
But great for target shooting, squirrels, rabbits, silent killing at nighttime if somebody breaks in. I don't know. Great for all overall. Oh shit!
It's got a laser.
It's got a laser on it. I just found out it has a laser. I have the laser. So what did I need a red dot for? Holy shit! I just found this laser. I'm seriously. I just found it. I didn't know what that was. It has a laser.
Nice.
Oh my god! Now I got to play with it and get that tuned in.
Where's my glasses at?
I know.
Safety glasses.
So hey, check it out. AR-6 Stinger. It's pretty cool. They have the Gen. This is Gen 1. They have a Gen 2 with an AR buttstock, which is pretty awesome. I mean, it's just fun. We were shooting it earlier, and he looked like a little boy giggling while he's shooting it. Maybe I'll let my girls shoot this and see how they like it. But hey, I just want to let you know, I'm not giving a shout out. They're not promoting it. I bought it.
It says right here, caution laser.
Caution. I never read that part.
Is that what it says?
It says do not dry fire.
Oh.
That's the part I read, but I just saw this hands. I was thinking maybe don't put your hands in here while you're.
What's the other side say?
It says do not dry fire.
Oh, never mind.
They're just the little 6 1/4 inch bolts. 50 feet away is still accurate. I don't know. Maybe if I go outside and do 75.
Yeah.
But it's a really fun. It comes with everything except for your red dot. Doesn't have the red dot or your halogen. What's it fucking called? Holographic. I don't know why I'm messing up on words, but yeah, it came complete, and you just put it together. Boom, you're ready to go. Lock, cock, and ready to rock. All right, guys. Hey, thank you for joining us. Sorry it took so long. So keep your head on a swivel. Keep your powder dry. Any words of wisdom from the Warlord of Geneva?
Suck less.
Suck less, like your hat says.
That's my hat. Yeah, suck less.
All right. All right, guys. Have a great one. Thanks, everybody, for joining us.
See ya.